Hello, you are watching the Storehouse for Caregivers. My name is Lakeisha Hines.
And I'm Willie Hines.
And we are so happy that you're joining us for this episode. It is the month of July, and there's a lot that happens during the month of July, but there's something specific that everybody looks forward to for July. What is it?
Barbecue.
Barbecues. Okay.
Yeah.
Fireworks, maybe.
Fireworks.
Okay. Yeah, 4th of July is one of the biggest holidays for the month of July. So
And this year is very special because it's the country's 250th.
that's right. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
anniversary.
I completely
huge.
forgot about that. Yeah, so it's a big deal. But we're not really here to talk about 4th of July. While it's important and it is significant and America is celebrating a beautiful birthday, we're here more so to talk about Independence Day for you and the special people in your life. We experienced some independence going on this year. Our kiddo literally graduated from high school and transitioned to a day program. So there's a lot of independence going on for him. We have somebody that's getting ready to go to high school, which is crazy. Oh my gosh. So there's a lot of transitioning happening in our house too. So independence is like right on time for us right now with everything that we're experiencing. So we want to say in advance, happy Independence Day. One of the things that we really want to talk about and focus on today is encouraging independence in our kiddos. That is so important. Why do you think that's so important?
Because we all want our kiddos, whether they're special needs or neurotypical, to be able to take care of themselves. And the more practice that they get, the more equipped they will be in the years to come with truly providing and advocating for themselves.
Yes, and if you do have a kiddo with special needs, which most people who are watching us do, you've sat in an IEP meeting or two, or you've sat in a 504 planning meeting. And one of the things that educators always talk about is like advocating, right? Teaching our kiddos to advocate for themselves. And you may be sick of hearing that, but even the nonverbal kiddos find a way to advocate for themselves. And so we definitely do want to encourage that. So in that same vein, we want to talk about some of the things that you can actually do to encourage that independence in your kiddos, whether, like Willie said, they have disabilities or special abilities, as we call them, or not. So one of the things is we want to provide choices. That's huge. A lot of times when we do see tantrum behavior in children, it's because they don't feel as if they have the right to choose or that they have an opportunity to make choices for themselves. So we do want to provide choices. And I'll give you an example. This is something that we did with our neurotypical children. We were fighting when they were younger. I guess we still kind of fight now about vegetables. But that was a huge thing for us, right? They really did not want to eat vegetables. And so what we did was created a choice board for them where they could choose between broccoli, green beans, or green peas. Now, here's the thing. It didn't matter what they chose because we still win. They still eat the vegetables and they still are eating something within the confines or the context of what it is that we're offering to them. And it made them feel good that they got to choose and get to have what they picked. And so it's a win-win for everybody, right? So we want to do similar things for our kiddos with special needs as well. Like we want to be able to give them opportunities to choose between one or more tasks, for example, or one or more foods for themselves. Like we'll ask our son often, what do you want for breakfast? I'll show him 2 different options. And so we're giving him an opportunity to make choices and make a decision for himself. And that empowers them and also lets them know that their voice does matter and that we do care and they're being heard. And so, again, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, the next thing is you want to avoid doing things for them. And this is extremely tough. If you're in the special needs community, time is of the essence. So it's much easier to do the things for them that they need to have done.
Yeah.
But we have to give them that opportunity or create that space for them to do the things for themselves. What that does is create a greater sense of growth for them and also confidence it absolutely can build their confidence that they're able to do some of those things themselves. So it's a very hard thing to do, to take your hands off of it, but it is indeed needed to ensure that they learn how to do it, and over time they get better and be more efficient like you are today.
Yeah, I think you should talk about challenges.
Provide healthy challenges. I'll say that.
Yeah. You do well with this.
The same thing with anything regarding growth in life. The way you get better is overcoming challenges, overcoming roadblocks. It's the same thing with if you're working out. The only way you're going to get stronger is if you put more weight on the bar for yourself. So provide challenges to create that strength. And again, we want to build independence. That's the main goal of what we're speaking about today. But that confidence is equally as important. And they'll show you. And they want you proud of them. And honestly, it may take a year, it may take 2 years, it may take 10 years. But provide those healthy challenges where they won't be injured or hurt of any kind, for them to overcome those challenges. And that way they know that you're proud of them.
Yeah, I was just thinking as you were talking, one of the challenges that was very difficult to sit by and watch is when we were trying to teach our son how to dress and undress. And the therapist would take him halfway, take the shirt halfway off and then leave. And you know what I mean? Just stop, leave the shirt where it was. And like you said, it was so hard not to jump in and go ahead and take it off or pull it down or whatever. But we had to refrain. And so now he can do it. He can do it independently. But it's tough when you're trying to teach them to do these things. But it does pay off in the end. So stick with it. Don't quit.
Yep.
Use assistive devices, whatever that looks like. There's Mac switches. There's buttons that they can press. There's also different mechanisms that you can use when you are trying to teach them how to dress and undress, and things that'll help tie shoes. There's so much out there with technology now that can help our kiddos be able to communicate and to, again, have that independence. And so do the research, talk to therapists, talk to your child's educators, talk to the medical professionals in your life to see what's out there that may be able to help your child gain more independence. Because again, there's so much out there, even down to shoes with Velcro, right? Some of the kiddos don't have the fine motor skills to be able to tie shoestrings, but they can definitely use Velcro to put their shoes on and off. And so use whatever is at your fingertips. And then we want to set goals, right? So I remember one year we had a goal for our kiddo to be able to kick a ball. That was something that we really, really wanted him to be able to do. And so it could be something like that, or it could be we have a goal that he's going to use sign language to be able to communicate. So it really just depends on your individual child, but it is important to set those goals. Why? Because what we're doing is setting expectations. And also, people will rise up to the level that you put in front of them, right? That you challenge them. So if I am saying, oh, my kid will only be able to do whatever, they will live up to the level of our expectations. So that's another really important reason why we want to set those goals.
And some of those goals can be long-term and some can be short-term goals. And make sure that when they hit those goals, you celebrate them.
Yes, like crazy.
Yeah, like a wild child. Celebrate those goals as they hit them, no matter how small they are.
Yes. And then just, as I said, we're reaching out to talk to therapists and medical professionals and educators and all those things. We want to make sure that we're continuing to collaborate with them because, we are the experts as it pertains to our kiddos, but they're the experts in the field that they went to school for, that they got a degree in. So we want to make sure that we are collaborating with them to gain whatever insight they may have to help us as we're trying to encourage that independence. So now, self-determination. Oh my goodness. What does your child need to learn to manage their adult life? And depending on the age of your child, this may seem so far-fetched. Why are we talking about this right now? But it's so important because guess what? The same way we're trying to set goals for them, we need to be setting goals as well that are future forward. Because again, when you achieve a goal, it didn't get achieved on the day that you set the goal. Like it started well before, right? That you were working toward achieving that goal. So we want to make sure that again, we are thinking now, thinking ahead about what we want the next 6 months, the next year, 5 years, 10 years, the same way that we should be setting those goals for ourselves individually. We want to make sure we're setting those for our kiddos too.
And depending on the goals, and as we know, going to incur some challenges, some roadblocks, some problems. Depending on developmentally where the child is, you want to enlist their help to solve those problems.
Yes.
That way they can own the problems, own the resolution, and in turn own the success as well as they move through those goals. So again, depending on where the child is, definitely want to make sure that we include them, if at all possible, in overcoming some of those problems or some of those roadblocks that may come up.
Right. And then just thinking about, okay, well, Willie, I don't know, like what goals should I be trying to set for my child, Lakeisha? Like, I just can't think of anything. Well, again, we can talk about the day-to-day needs, their personal hygiene. We can talk about educational goals. We can talk about socialization. I want my kiddo to be able to interact with other kids their own age, or I want them to be able to play appropriately with their siblings. We want them to be able to make good decisions. We're trying to teach them right from wrong. We want them to be able to speak up in those education planning meetings, in those IEP meetings. And even if they're nonverbal, again, there's still a way to create choices for them so they can choose if this is something that they would like or not. So you meet them where they are. But again, it's important to have the short term and the long term, because when we experience the success with the short term, that motivates us to keep working toward the long term goals. So we talked about self-advocacy, right? We definitely want to make sure that we are teaching our kiddos how to speak up for themselves. And with support, they actually can learn about their abilities as well as their special abilities. We don't like to focus on what our kids can't do. We really like to focus on what they can do and encourage them in that way. And if it's something that right now they don't have the ability to do, we want to normalize that and then communicate, hey, this is something that we're going to work toward. And then this is where I think the experts come in, because they can really help us to break it down into bite-sized pieces and really say, okay, well, this is step 1, step 2, 3, 4, so that we don't overwhelm ourselves and our kids. And we don't want to stress them out, which could then cause them to shut down and not want to keep working on these goals. So again, just asking them to speak up for themselves at home is, I think, a very good starting point, because that's a safe space. But then also at the doctor's office.
Yeah, allow them to speak up for themselves when it comes to those medical professionals. As we know, it can be overwhelming at first, so you definitely want to exercise patience with that. However, they're able to speak up for themselves, tell how they really feel, unfiltered. You get it very raw and real. And also, they just it will assist with their confidence in other arenas to help speak up for themselves. They're stating, I need, I want, I feel these ways. And doctors will definitely adhere to that. Definitely speak with the parents, as you know they will, but doctors will definitely take those things into consideration, that the child is speaking up for themselves.
Yeah, and I've seen so many creative ways that educators have made it easier for kiddos to speak up for themselves, like literally having like 3 different slips of paper on their desk, 3 different colors. And yellow means I need a break. Red means I need to go to the bathroom. Blue means I need a snack or something, right? So literally just them moving that to one side of their desk is them speaking up and asking for what they need. So there's so many ways that they can advocate for themselves. And, again, you want to meet them where they are. And just, I love what you said, Willie, about being patient with them. That's so important, because it's an adjustment when you have not been advocating for yourself. And as you transition to that, it takes some time.
So we're still talking about independence, and this is just tools, techniques to help your child build that independence. Again, allow them to make choices every day. Small choices, this pair of shoes or that pair of shoes. Little things like that. Oh, you two different outfits for school. This outfit or that outfit. Because again, like Lakeisha stated with the vegetables, we're gonna win. We're gonna win either way.
You know what I'm thinking about?
What's that?
When you don't want to wear this particular shirt to school and you actually took the shirt off and wet the shirt. I wonder if you did that because you didn't have an opportunity to choose what you wanted to wear.
No, I was bad.
I was
That
trying
was
to give you the benefit
disrespectful.
of the doubt. Like maybe you just
That was not a great choice. I did advocate for myself, and then my mom let me know that advocacy wasn't a part of that day. She advocated for herself at that point.
But I love what you're saying about being able to select the shoes that you want to wear or what clothes you want to wear to school. What do you want for lunch? What do you want for dinner? Like being able to give them options at home. I love that. That's great. Oh, I threw you off now.
Yeah, you go.
Okay, so you want to help them set goals that match their age and their ability. That's really important, right? We have a kiddo that's nonverbal. We're not going to expect them to start speaking a foreign language in 2 weeks, right? So we want to make sure their realistic expectations is appropriate for their intellectual, cognitive level, their age. That's really important. And then we love encouraging parents to start allowing kiddos to take over their own medical care as they are able. So we have neurotypicals at home as well as our kiddo with special abilities. And one of the things that we're working on right now is them being able to be responsible for their appointments. So it's on the calendar. You need to be responsible for making sure that you're ready to go at the time that we're supposed to go. You know what day, you know what time. And they don't know this yet, but they're about to start making their own doctor's appointments because, again, we have to start preparing them and transitioning them to be independent and to be able to know how to call the doctor and make an appointment for themselves. So steps, right? Baby steps, baby steps. And we want to work with them to create checklists and visual schedules of what they need to do every day. So there's no surprises. And so also we're teaching them responsibility. We're holding them accountable because a lot of times they'll say, well, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Well, it's on the schedule. So that's no excuse. And then we want to allow them to take small risks and have small failures. Why is that important?
Yeah, we learn from risk and failures. Learn every day from that, even as adults. We take risks, don't necessarily know the outcome. We have a projected outcome that we like to see, but it doesn't always work that way. What that teaches resilience. That teaches that at times you're not going to be perfect with everything. You're going to fail at certain things, but what do you learn from it and how you're going to move forward? And you know not to make that same decision again. Again, it creates that independence for them, that way they're not leaning on you to help get them through life.
Yeah, I think the not the worst thing, but something that's not a good thing is when your child reaches a certain age and you recognize that they're incapable of making basic decisions for themselves. And so we definitely want to, obviously, if they have the ability, the mental capacity that they can, yes, that's one thing if they're incapable. But if they have the ability to be able to make those decisions and choices for themselves, but they just do not because they weren't taught and they weren't trained, that's a completely different animal. So we just want to make sure, again, that we are being proactive and trying to teach them how to be as independent as possible. I don't care how old they get, and I don't care what their cognitive level is, they will always need mom and dad for something, right? Mm-hmm. And that's okay. But again, we want to make sure that we're transitioning them to as much independence as humanly possible. And I just want to go back to something that you said before about letting go. It's not easy. It is so hard to let go, especially when you have been solely as parents responsible for their everything, their health, their well-being, their how you raise them, their education, the medical appointments. Like, you've taken over everything, and you as the parents have been the ones that's been driving that. And then to start to relinquish some of that control
Yeah.
and to relinquish some of that responsibility, it can be challenging, but it's worth it.
It is absolutely.
The payoff is worth it.
So, adults with special needs were once children with special needs, and it's the same thing. You want to promote an environment where they can sustain and take care of themselves at all possible. And it could be little things, but those little things help tremendously. Those things that you want to teach them is the same thing as our neurotypical children. Self-care, hygiene, nutrition, recreational leisure activities, ensuring they take care of their personal safety at home. And as Lakeisha just stated, taking medications. You want to ensure that they have the capabilities, if they can, to do all that as much as possible. The main thing, and I'll take a step back, the main thing why we want to control the situation as parents is because we want to control the outcome. Because something happens, we are going to have to take care of it.
Right.
So again, that's a tough spot to be in, which we're all in, but it's very important that you minimize those things through challenging them throughout the years when they're youngsters and then they become adults.
Yeah, like one of the things that's hard too is like transportation and like having to navigate the community and rely on either medical transportation or public transportation. And so I don't know where you're watching from, but in our area, we do have specialized transportation for persons with special needs, and they actually can teach the person with special needs how to go through the different bus routes to get where they need to go. And it's such a beautiful program. So there's so many resources out there that are available. And we can't stress enough to start researching now. If your kiddo's already adult, that's okay. You can start now. But if your kiddo is younger, this is the time to start preparing yourself for these future decisions that you'll have to make, and to start dealing with the emotional piece of it and the mental piece of it, because it's a lot. Even, our kiddo transitioning to the day program, we were thinking about transportation, and I'm like, okay, who's picking him up? Like, I need to get their phone number. I need their cell phone number. I need to be able to get in contact with these people, right? But you do have to, again, just start preparing yourself as soon as you possibly can for that transition to adulthood and the independency that, again, we want them ultimately to have, but just a little terrified, just a little bit. And it's okay to have a little bit of fear, right? Just,
We understand.
you're concerned. You care about your kiddos. I'd be concerned if you weren't concerned. Okay.
So this is a big thing. How caregivers, we lose our independence.
Some of us don't even know we lost it, though.
Yeah. We began to take on the identity of our children in regarding everything we do is surrounded by them. They control our days, they control our calendars, they control our lives. And I know personally, I left Willie Hines a long time ago, and I was just Braylon's dad, because whatever I did was always surrounding him. So Keisha just made a great point stating we don't even know we lose our identity and our independence, but we do, and we get it, but it's time to reclaim it today.
Yeah, and it's not too late. As long as you still have breath in your body, you definitely can. Some of the signs that we have lost some of our independence is we stop caring about how we look. I mean, we literally are just throwing on something, rolling out of bed, just trying to survive. And I do remember a season like when, Braylon was medically fragile and we were in and out of the hospital like every 3 months. It was tough, to focus on ourselves because to Willie's point, we were literally just trying to survive and trying to make sure he survived. And so we were put on the back burner ourselves. But once things stabilize, we're encouraging you to continue making sure that you are taking care of yourself and that you are trying to maintain your independence, your individuality, I remember I used to draw, I used to paint, I used to write poetry. And, all of that went out the window when Braylon got sick. And as I continued to have more children, because we have 4 total, a lot of those things were lost. And so, later on, it's like I have to start reclaiming some of those things, like Willie said, reclaiming our identities, because it's so important. We have to slow down. Even though there's a lot going on and we're very busy and we're juggling and balancing multiple things, but we have to be intentional about slowing down. It's interesting. My best friend says all the time, sometimes we have to slow down to speed up. And for someone who is used to juggling multiple things, you don't really want to hear that, because you're like, no, if I slow down, it's going to slow me down. But in actuality, what that means is we slow down so that we can actually get focused. And so that we can hone in on what it is that we need to do, and we can be strategic with what we're doing. And ultimately, if you are working on 10 things at one time, you're moving slower than you would be if you just stopped, took one thing at a time, completed that, then moved to the next thing. So be strategic in the intentionality of slowing down with purpose and intention. And then a lot of times our identities revolve around our jobs. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and our jobs are where we are most of the time, and it provides a means of income. So we want to treat that important, but we can't let it define who we are and what we do every day. And that's when we combine the job with the taking care of the special needs child. Who are you at that point? But you got to reclaim that time for yourself. And then lastly, get enough rest, sleep. I say this all the time. There's only 24 hours a day. So when it's time to lay down, you lay down with purpose. You lay down with a clear mind so that you can get rest while you're sleeping. Sometimes some people pop up in the middle of the night thinking about ideas, trying to jot stuff down. Try to brain dump before you lay down to ensure that you get enough rest.
I'm people.
She's people.
Yeah, and then just in freedom, a lot of times prior to having a kiddo with special needs, there was certain freedom that we had. And when we do get that kiddo with special needs, as you said, like we're tied to the therapy appointments and the doctor's appointments and all of those things, and they really hijack our calendars. And so we don't have the freedom that we once had. But with the time that we do have when we're not sleeping, we do need to carve out some time to, again, do something specifically just for ourselves. All right. And so how do we get that independence back?
Just reconnecting with who you are first, spending that time with yourself, and reconnecting with the things you like to do and the friendships that you've made. I encourage all caregivers of children with disabilities to have your caregiver friends and your regular friends.
Yes.
Because we don't want the topic of the conversation to always be about our children.
Yes.
When we go out, I don't have any kids. Neurotypical or my son's person. Yeah, right. I don't have any kids. I just want to be myself and let my hair down. That I once had. Let my hair down. But again, do the things you like to do, hobbies, sporting events, whatever you need. Make time for yourself. Put yourself on your calendar.
Yep.
We end up putting everything else on the calendar. Try to remember, ensure that you put yourself on your calendar.
Yes, and stop comparing. Don't try to have somebody else's life. Have the life that was intended for you. Ask for help. We say that all the time. We are help. We are help. Take care of yourself. That's so important. And so with reaching out for help, please stay connected with us. We are on all these social media platforms. We have a website. There's a email that you can email address that you can take advantage of. There's a phone number that comes directly to us that you can call or text. And so we highly encourage you to visit our website. Schedule a spotted call if you're in need of resources or support. We do have a monthly support group, and it alternates in person and virtual. So we are here for you. You are not alone. And if you were listening to this message today and you know you need to be more independent, but you are on the struggle bus, we're here to help you. We can be your bus drivers and help you get to independence.
Yes, indeed.
So thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.